Walking around with a name like Boris has gotten me into a lot of trouble. Even in the United States, where I grew up, and now here in Canada, countries with a diversity of people and an equal diversity of names, my name always stood out. When hearing my name, people would often assume that I was born in Russia, and then, of course, was fluent in Russian. Even after studying the language in university and learning, if nothing else, to say clearly, "Я плохо говорю по-русски," I don't speak Russian well. Not everyone was convinced. I was Russian whether I liked it or not. And when my family moved to a new city and we were registering for school, I did have the opportunity to change my name and choose something more common. I nearly did this, but I think my life might have been very different if I'd done so. Upon reflection, I know that this name also carried with it something more meaningful than the sounds of its letters. My name also connected me with the memory of my grandfather, Boris, who was born in Lithuania, and was a strong and visible reminder of my heritage, my ancestors, and my Jewish roots. There was no running away from this part of my past and my identity. And in some ways, I think my name might have been part of what inspired me later to become a rabbi. Above all, I'm glad I held on to Boris. Now, the power of names figures prominently in this week's Parsha. Preparing to meet his brother Esau, we read how the patriarch Jacob has a wrestling match with an angel of God and receives a new name because of this life-changing experience. The angel tells him, "Your name shall no longer be Jacob, but Yisrael, for you have striven with beings divine, human, and prevailed." This name change is more than simply a change in letters. It's a profound message about Jacob's growth and his purpose in life. According to the Torah, Jacob was named from Ekev, heel, because his life began holding on to his brother's foot, a prediction of the sibling rivalry and the challenges in their family, much of which was instigated by Jacob himself. But now, after wrestling with the angel, Jacob becomes Yisrael, a God wrestler, a name which signifies, we hope, maturity and the growth that has taken place in Jacob's life. No matter how we look at it, after he receives his new name, Jacob is no longer the same. Yet it is strange that even after this profound and this life-changing experience, the Torah again refers to our patriarch as Yaakov, Jacob. It says, "So Jacob named the place Peniel," meaning I've seen a divine being face to face, yet my life has been preserved. So why describe such an incredible experience, so specifically describing the origin of this new name, and then use the old one again? There's an important message here about the ways that we are changed by the experiences of our lives, and how we need to find a way to confront our past even as we tread new paths. Even as we undergo these changes, whether it's moving to a new city, leaving an old partner, searching for a new one, converting to a new faith, or any part of our life, we can never fully leave our old selves behind. We may try our best to create a new life, to move on from the experiences of the past, and often we can be quite successful in this task. What we might gain from these changes are an entirely new way of looking at the world and a new understanding of what's important in our lives. But our past and the names we once had will always be part of who we are. The challenge is to find the best way to hold on to them, even as we leave them behind. Later on in the Torah, we read Bilam's blessing to the Jewish community, the same one which we open our morning service with. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. The blessing to the Jewish people is offered both of Jacob's names. How good are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel. This is from Numbers. The choice of both of these names is quite purposeful. As Jews, Yisrael, we take pride in our name Israel as wrestlers with God. But we also remember what came before we had this name. The people Israel, the name Israel, was once simply Jacob, a child wandering and trying to make sense of his family and his life. And even as Jacob has grown into a new and more spiritually strong leader, into Israel, he can never separate himself from his former name. The same is true with us. We will always have regrets about who we were or what has happened in our lives. And unfortunately, there's no way to ever clear our past fully from all the pain and challenges which we've experienced. Yet if we can see these names as instead stepping stones to a better place, as opportunities for growth and learning, then we can more readily move ahead. It may be difficult to reach this place of acceptance, and we may not be there yet, but we know that the most profound change is possible if we give it time. Have regard for your name, writes Ben Sira. since it will remain for you longer than many stores of gold. So even if we don't have much that is for sure in this world, we do have our names. So let's hold on to them with pride.